Subject of this video is all about accountability. Now, this is the thing that will actually make some real difference in whether you stick to your plan long term or whether it's just a flash in the pan and it all falls by the wayside after just a few short days, weeks, or even just a couple of months. So let's find out what the importance of accountability is. So, accountability, really important, guys. You can go and get a great training program. You can get a training program from a good PT, a good online coach, anything like that. Pick it up in a decent magazine, or you can get a decent book that will tell you all about how to set up a training program. So you can get that bit sorted. On the nutrition side, sometimes it's all a bit confusing as to which diet strategy you should approach, which meal timing strategy you should approach, and so on and so on and so on. But the information's out there. The information is there for you to go seek, you to go find. You know, websites like mine have information that you can take for free, or you can have someone else create a plan for you. You can do it yourself. But the main crux of it is there is ways and means for you to get that nutrition plan. So if you've got your training plan here and your nutrition plan here, you've got two of the core elements that are going to help you make that fitness transformation a reality, right? But is that everything that you need? I think not. To me, there are three elements to achieving success in terms of your fitness, fat loss, muscle building, whatever your goal is. There's a third element that often people just completely ignore, either don't know about, or it's just not talked about. It's not sexy. It's not as interesting as benching 120 kilos. It's not as interesting as saying you can eat popcorn and ice cream every day, all day long, and still lose weight. It's not as interesting to talk about. But for me, accountability is the real game changer. It's what turns a good training program and a good nutrition plan into sustainable results. So what do I mean by accountability? Well, accountability for me is that urge, that need, that pull to be consistent over time to your training and nutrition. So you need to find ways and means to hold yourself accountable to make sure you're doing the right things on a daily basis. So to make sure that if you need to go to the gym 3 times a week, that you go 3 times a week. If you want to meal prep on a Sunday, making sure that you do meal prep on a Sunday. Making sure that you track your macros in MyFitnessPal or whatever it is you're doing, whatever makes up part of your program. Keeping yourself accountable to that plan is key. So you need to find ways and means of doing that. Now, there are quite a few ways you can do it. You can get a coach. Someone like me doing online coaching, I'm there to provide accountability for my clients. I'm there to make sure that they're motivated, that they're on plan, that I understand what their habits are, I understand what their motivations are, and I can see where they're going maybe slightly off track, and I can rein them in, I can motivate them and push them in another direction, and I can give them the emphasis and the motivation they need to stick to that plan. So that's one route, but that's not for everybody, and I know that. Another way you could do is, say, in a sort of a social environment. If you know what your goal is, make that public. If your goal is to lose body fat or gain muscle, tell people about it. Put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook, tell your friends, tell your family, put it on MyFitnessPal or whatever it is. Get your goal out there and then tell people what you are going to do to achieve it. So if you're saying that I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, then post all that on social media. Everyone loves a selfie. Do the selfies of you in the gym. It's quite fun, but it's holding you accountable. You put that thing out there in the public that you're going to do this, and that should create some motivation and some drive to actually go and do it and give people that story that you've gone on that journey, and those people will support you on that journey. So when you go through those dips, then you'll have that little support network with you that can help pull you and push you on to the next thing. So I'd do that. I'd make it public, make it social. The other thing that I would do as well is to track as many things as possible. Now, whether that is in MyFitnessPal or whether that is in a bit of paper or anything like that on a spreadsheet, is to track things. Track metrics, track progress, so all of your workouts, all of your track your weight. Now, weight is a key thing. So scale weight isn't necessarily that important. So let's say, for example, you are trying to lose body fat. You losing body fat does not mean that the scale weight is just going to do a linear decline day by day. That's just not going to happen. So if I was to get someone to track their scale weight on a daily basis, I guarantee that there's some up and down in terms of how that weight actually looks, especially if you're female and going through your cycles every month, is that can have a massive fluctuation on water retention, and it can have a massive implication on your actual scale weight day to day. So scale weight in itself is not that important. However, it does give an indication and a trend over time. So if you are trying to lose body fat, you would expect over time to have lost weight. Within that, it would go up and down, and you have some peaks and troughs. But overall, over a 90-day period, you would have expected some weight loss in most cases. But remember, don't get too hung up about those daily fluctuations. But if you can get through that and psychologically it doesn't sort of affect your motivation, then logging your weight daily is a good thing. Because again, it's proven in studies to show that people hold themselves more accountable if they're measuring those metrics on a daily basis. If you're measuring your weight, you're logging your food, you're looking at these metrics, you're more inclined to do something about them. And I've got one tip for you that I use myself, which I'm going to show you right now, but we need to move locations. So this calendar here is my little accountability chart. It's very simple, it's very basic, but to me, it is one of the most important tools that I have to make sure that I stick to my plan and make sure I can see and correct any off-track performance. It's real simple, doesn't really cost anything. It cost me about £5 for the calendar, about 50p for the pen. But it makes a difference in the long term. So let's bring it a little closer so you can see it, if I don't destroy the wall in the process. So that is the calendar itself. I'm going to zoom in so you can actually see it. So what we've got obviously is all of the days, and then what I'm tracking here is my scale weight and then the workout that I did on that particular day, whether it was a cardio day, whether it was a rest day, whether we were doing chest, back, delts, whatever it may be. And I log this every morning. So when I come down and have usually probably having my pre-workout or my breakfast, this is the first thing that I do. And then we've got a ticks here and then some crosses here. And that's to do with whether I stuck to my nutrition plan or not on that particular day. And it usually means a cross probably means I've gone over. If I've gone under, then I probably would have that as a tick. It probably wouldn't affect me too much. But what I do here is I say, for example, we've got a couple of crosses and things like that. So there's 3 crosses in that week. And therefore, when I come to sort of correct that next week, I'm looking for more ticks. But because I'm bulking at the moment, a couple of digressions isn't really going to affect me too much. So what I do, I track this. This makes me accountable. This makes me do something about it. And that's why I would say it's a good thing for you to do. So guys, it's all about accountability. Remember, 3 elements to achieving that success: training, nutrition, accountability, which also incorporates sort of motivation and all that sort of thing. So a good training program, a good nutrition plan, and accountability to make it consistent is this sort of the 3 things that is going to really make the difference in your training program. So whether it's you're going through an online coach, whether you're going like a buddy system, whether you're putting it out there on social media, whether you're using a calendar like me, then do something to hold yourself accountable to those goals. And don't make excuses. So if you're saying, it takes ages to log stuff in MyFitnessPal, it's a ball ache, I can't be bothered, I haven't got time, then to me that's just an excuse. Think about, if you're saying that you haven't got time to log your food every day, then think about all the time you spend doing stuff that doesn't matter, stuff that doesn't mean anything. So the amount of times you're sat at home watching TV, so you're watching a couple of hours of TV, maybe you're watching Game of Thrones, a new season. While you're watching that, take 10 minutes to log your food. While there's an advert break, take 2 minutes to log a meal, something like that. Whether, even when you get up in the morning, you have a shit, then you're on the toilet, probably flicking through Facebook, flicking through Instagram, you could log your meals, you could plan your meals, you could do something. It takes a couple of minutes. Pick those couple of minutes throughout the day and you'll find that it's a breeze to log your food. And I always say to people is that you don't really have to log your food forever if you don't want to. If you'll get to a point where if you've done food logging for a number of months and you've got success, you've got the body you want, you'll start to understand portion sizes. You'll start to understand, what sort of, you'll be able to judge your macros more intuitively. You're still going to have a margin of error in that process, but you're going to be more informed, more educated on the whole process. So tracking doesn't have to be forever. If there's someone like me who's quite OCD about the whole thing, then I do still track and I do still monitor what I eat on a daily basis. But I do know that if I wanted slight deviation from the plan, I know in terms of macros what that means to my plan and how if I want to, I can correct it the following day. If I don't want to, then I can plow on and probably not much will change. But it's that process and that accountability and that tracking process that I've gone through over the years that has enabled me to be able to do that and to be managing my health and my diet rather intuitively, rather than having to stick to a more rigid structure. But again, accountability is key. Make sure you're keeping yourself accountable, make sure you're consistent, and you will achieve success. So guys, thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, stick some comments in the comment section below. But also hit that like button and I'll see you tomorrow for the next video.